him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All in autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some.
The Yeller Sub, located on 7200 Montgomery Boulevard, serves breakfast all day long along with classic hot and cold subs. Don't forget about our shakes, malts and floats made with your favorite Blue Bell ice cream. 45 years and still going strong. Come on down to the Yeller Sub, official sandwich of ProView Networks.
Not the happiest Thursday morning in Albuquerque, and I completely understand, listeners, but look, one thing I'm very, very good for in my personal life and amongst the listeners to me is I'm very, very good to vent to. I'm very, very good for comfort when things go wrong. I'm going to listen to your vent. I'm going to help you see the bright side in things. Welcome into the opening drive. I'm Zay Johnson. I've got Mr. Jerry Wright producing for me here in the studio, and it was a tough one last night. That was a tough loss for the men's Lobos, and look, I'm here for you Lobo fans. The phone lines will be open all show.
I went to New Mexico State.
Okay,
I'm an Aggie, and I'm sad.
Wow!
I've been rooting for the Lobos. I've been jumping on the bandwagon. If I'm going to be honest,
yeah, it's been hard not to.
It's hard not to.
It's been a really, really fun season.
Yeah,
and I don't think that what happened last night should stray anybody's mentality away from what the season has been, what we still have in a basketball team. All right, last night is what I call like a trap game. Okay. You already had some injuries. You just went 2 games ahead of the team that's competing with you for the number 1 spot in the conference, and you're coming off that big win. Like I said, you got some injuries, and you're going into a hostile environment. Okay, hostile environment. The Broncos are 12-1 at home. All right, so they're 12-1 at home. They don't lose often at home, and if I'm correct, before this game yesterday, I heard something along the lines of the Lobos haven't won in Boise in like 8 years. So it's been a very, very long time since the Lobos have been able to get a win there. And look, yes, this should have been the perfect season to pull it off. This is a perfect team to go in there and pull it off. But there's a reason they're 12-1 at home. That's a good basketball team when they're at home. So, I think we do have the final call, Jerry. Let's go ahead and let's rip the Band-Aid off the wound. Okay, so we'll hear the final call and then we'll discuss some of my feedback from the game.
Rebound, Joseph. Nelly at the timeline. 2 seconds left. He'll pull from half court. It is short, and that'll do it. Boise State 86, Lobos 78. The final at Extra Mile Arena. The Lobos' 8-game winning streak comes to an end. UNM dips to 14-2 in conference play, and their lead in the standings in the Mountain West drops to 1 game. They do have the tiebreaker over the second place Utah State Aggies.
Okay, so as you can hear it in Portnoy's voice, yeah, he's definitely been much happier, and a lot of times this season he's been happier. 22 times, in fact, during that final call has he been happier. But like I said, I mean, this was just a game where, number one, Degenhart from Boise State, I'm new to the college basketball scene, okay? I'm new to the scene. Some of these players, it's my first time watching them. And Degenhart, I need to figure out his first name. He shot 15 free throws in this basketball game. He shot 15 free throws and he made 13 of them. There's only 2 other times this entire season he has shot double-digit free throws, and the second highest was when he went 12 for 12. So it's a guy that is a known free throw shooter. When he gets to the line, he's going to put him down. Okay, and he was able to get to the line 15 times. All right, now the final score is a little deceiving. It was pretty lopsided second half. All right, they came out in halftime right where they left off going into halftime. So the beginning of the game, the Lobos, you come out strong. I had in my notes with 11 minutes and 30 seconds left in the first quarter, so about 4 minutes in, I noticed that the Lobos had forced 4 turnovers. So, I mean, like, they defensively were doing a great job to start the game off. But as time went on, Boise State just kind of started, they found a rhythm. They started figuring things out. Here it says New Mexico got off to a strong start, building a 9-3 lead over the opening 4 minutes. The Broncos answered with a 6-0 run to tie the game with 14:45 left in the half. The Lobos took a 6-point lead with 11 minutes to play before Boise tied it 17-17 with 9 minutes left. Joseph led the team with 14 points at halftime. They went into the half down 42-39. And then from the point of 42-39, when Boise came and took that lead late into the first half, I mean, they came out in the second half and pushed it all the way to 64-45. Oof. So from 42-39 at halftime to 64-45 with 12 minutes to play. They started out the second half with an 18-2 run. Okay, and you don't have to be a genius to assume that the arena was rocking during that run. And one thing the Lobos are not built around is they are not built for big deficits. They are not built for falling behind 18 points and a half and needing to claw their way out. Maybe over the course of a game they can come back from that, but I wouldn't say they can come back from that in just the second half. They just don't, they're not built to shoot the amount of shots that you would have to put up to come back from that type of deficit. Now, with that being said, they almost did, sort of. They ended the game on a 9-0 run, finished 86-78, but again, it's not the end of the world, okay? You had some guys missing. They had a guy go to the free throw line 15 times, and he scored 32 points. 32 points in a college basketball game, it's domination. Man, that's domination. Not only that, he went 8 for 16 from the field. So he shot 50% from the field and then shot about 90% from the free throw line. Mustafa, he was out this game. Mustafa Amzil, he's a big part of the Lobos. Dent, he tied a career high with 11 assists, but his shot just wasn't falling. I've noticed a trend. Whenever the Lobos lose, it's just some guys, their shot just isn't falling. And I know that's the tricky part with basketball. Your shot's never just guaranteed to fall. But you have some teams where, they can afford to have a couple of guys have bad shooting nights, but they still have some role players that will hit some threes and keep you in the game. And there's some nights where the Lobos have that. But more nights than not, we need the top of the roster to have at least a decent shooting night if we're going to be able to go in to Boise State and get that victory. So, as a Lobo supporter, I feel like it'd be disrespectful to the true Lobo fans who have been here from the beginning for me to just sit up here and call myself a Lobo fan, but I'm a Lobo supporter, and out of respect for you guys, I won't call myself a fan just yet. I'll give it some years. But as a Lobo supporter, I don't think this is the end of the world at all. Okay, the worst case scenario here, I do believe out of all the rest of their games, this was one of the games where they would have had trouble squeezing out a win because it's on the road. Boise State's a good home team. I think the rest of the games are winnable. All right, you built yourself a 2-game lead over Utah State, so now there is a little bit of pressure there, but you're still in first. They just had a bad shooting night, and the worst outcome of this loss is the fact that you probably won't be ranked now. I don't know how much that mattered to a lot of the fans. I don't know how much that mattered to the players. I think they just want to make sure they're in the tournament, and that's all they really care about. But as far as squeaking into that top 25, you can now for sure kiss that goodbye. It was already going to be kind of tough to pull off, but now that's for sure. I'm sure that's out the window. Getting that 25, 24 next to the team name, and that doesn't really matter. You know, listening to the Lobo talks, I'm actually the producer for 95% of them. Listening to the Lobo talks and listening to Coach Pitino, that's not something that's on his mind. That's not something that's just on the player's mind. They care about being first in the conference and maintaining that lead. And as of right now, that's what they're doing. You know, historically, when I do the opening drive, I noticed that, like, whenever the Lobos would lose, at least earlier in the season before we won 22 games, earlier in the season when the Lobos would lose, there would just be like an outrage. And then when we would get a win, there'd be kind of like a restricted applause, restricted happiness. You kind of got your trust guard up. You got your wall up. You don't want to just lean too deep into this and be confident and then have your heart broken. Trust me, I know a lot about that. I'm a Cowboys fan. You guys know this. I know all about being reluctant to lean into a team, and you just always are waiting for that doomsday moment. But again, I've said this before, and I'll say it as long as he's here. Lobo fans, you guys have the edge over a Cowboys fan or somebody dealing with that type of trust issue, because there's actually a really, really good coach here. There's a really, really good coach. They've responded very, very well to losses all season. I'm sure there's some sort of stat. I think every single one of their win streaks came right after a loss. I mean, obviously, naturally, because you're 22-5. But they didn't lose, like, back-to-back games. I don't recall. So all their losses are very, very spread out. You got a really good coach who knows how to handle these losses. Usually at halftime is when the adjustments are made, but this game got out of hand in the second half. But he's really good at adjustments. He's really good at making the team respond. And with him leading the charge, I don't think there's ever a reason to panic. Now, is it a little worrying that the team really, really needs to have a decent shooting night to beat a top-tier team? Yeah, that can give you a little bit of anxiety as a fan going into the game. Like, hoping it's not one of those bad shooting nights. But at the same time, in the future, I expect the roster to be fully healthy. I expect Donovan Dent to bounce back. Remember, after the last loss, he was the one that went down the aisles and picked up his teammates. So there's no reason to think that this loss is going to break this team in any way. If anything, heading towards the end of the season, heading into the tournament, I've seen nothing to prove that losses propel this team forward. Losses literally make them better. I know it sounds cliche, but losses have literally made this team better all season long, especially immediately after the loss. So as we need them to lock up the end of the season, maintain the 1 seed, go into the tournament strong, this doesn't really hurt our chances to pull that off. So yes, it would have been nice to beat Boise State. I know JJ is not the biggest fan of Boise State at all, and that's putting that lightly. So I know this stings him. It stings a lot of you Lobo fans at home. But keep your eyes on the prize, okay? The end goal is still in reach, still first. It's better to cash in that loss now than later. But you can't let a guy shoot 15 free throws, especially if he's a guy that's gone 12-12. Like 15 free throws, 32 points. That's a lot. And not only that, I mean, he's slowing the game down. And when you're slowing the game down and a team is behind after an 18-2 run, the last thing you need to happen is for the other team to be shooting free throws. It slows down your offense. It ruins the pace. It ruins the flow. Players can't get in the rhythm. All types of things go downhill when that starts happening. So the Lobos have a tough loss. The phone lines are open. 505-246-0610. Call in with your thoughts. If you're down in the dumps about this, if you think this loss is going to come back to bite them, if you think that there was some type of exposure going on, or if you agree with me and you think it's no big deal and that the Lobos will bounce back from this and be an even better team in the tournament. So please call in. Let me know your thoughts. You are listening to The Opening Drive. I'm Zay Johnson. We got to pay some bills. When we come back after the break, we got a little bit of women's basketball as well. The Lady Lobos got their win yesterday. And we're also going to cross over to the NFL. And we've got a Hall of Famer speaking his mind about another potential future Hall of Famer. So all that and more when we get back after the break. You're listening to The Opening Drive on 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Right here for the Seawood Cougars, and that one is denied. Off the front iron, rebound, Diabate. Another chance for Adams, and he hits it.
Trying to thread the needle, and he threw it away. That's unforced error. Here comes the game. And Asilian makes up for the mistake.
Entirely new crew out here. Next time we get a whistle, Adams scores again. Adams gets the put back and he puts it right back again.
What a beautiful bounce to Benoli, who Euro stepped by a defender for the layup. Another dime for Reno. Inside, another dunk. Two-hand slam. Bounce pass. Stolen away. Fast hands. Bramlett gives it to Butler. Dunked it. Dunked off Lovato. Nice name. Good pass by McGee. 6:55. Still, one hand dunk for Peters. Lobbed upstairs to the elevator.
An inbound play. Hobbs catch. Oh, block. Butler. Huge. Diabate.
They've got a good shot up now. They got a good shot.
Harris, 12 seconds left. Poked away.
Oh,
Butler. Here comes the money. No. Yes.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
The Yeller Sub, located on 7200 Montgomery Boulevard, serves breakfast all day long along with classic hot and cold subs. Don't forget about our shakes, malts and floats made with your favorite Blue Bell ice cream. 45 years and still going strong. Come on down to the Yeller Sub, official sandwich of ProView Networks.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, backed by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
From the Sandia foothills to the banks of the Rio Grande, generations of families remain. For 5 generations, Gallus Chevrolet has handed down values written in stone, leading the way under sun-filled skies, past the vintage glow of Route 66. Built by generations past, built for generations to come. This is New Mexico. This is Gallus.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need.
They had a very exciting game. Okay, when you look at the box scores through the first 3 quarters, you see they went into the fourth quarter tie game. All right, the first quarter they were outscored by 4 points, and then in the third quarter they outscored San Jose State by 4 points, and in the second quarter they scored the same amount of points. And they went into the fourth quarter tie game, and that is when the Lady Lobos locked in and turned on the heaters as they shot 9 of 12 from the floor and 2 of 3 from three-point range. In the final 20 minutes, UNM shot 51.9% from the floor with 22 points coming in the paint to give UNM 42 of its 72 points in the paint. So dominating the paint was the Lady Lobos. And I believe we have that final call as well, Jeff. So we're going to take a listen to a little bit more of an exciting final call that took place in the women's Lady Lobo game.
Inbound to Summers, final 12 seconds. Lobos lead 72-65. Magalhaes defending hard, picking up Summers full court. Summers still dribbling with it. 5, 4, 3, passes out to Brown. 2, 1, shot goes up, and that'll do it. It's no good as New Mexico is victorious 72-65 as the Lobos battle and come up big in the fourth quarter.
So how about that? Congratulations to the Lady Lobos.
Yeah.
And again, you know, they had 5 players in double digits, 4 starters in double digits. Yeah, one, Nayli Padilla finished with 13 points off the bench. Alyssa Hargrove scored 11. Joanna Magalhaes and Vianney Cumber each finished with 10 points to round out the double-digit Lobos. I tell you one thing, J.J. Buck, hats off to you, because the first time going through and trying to pronounce some of the names in the roster, it's so tough. So tough. That's one thing about the announcer lifestyle. When I did it a few times, they make it seem easy, but that is not easy. You have to go and practice before the game and like go ask for the correct way to pronounce things. The only reason I have an idea is because I've produced some of the games, so I've heard him. So yeah, the Lady Lobos come out victorious last night, outscore San Jose State 28-21. Some notes I had was Destiny Hook scores 18 on 8 for 16 shooting, 4 starters in double digits, hit a 3 with 1 minute and 28 seconds left to secure the lead at 68-62. And also Hulda Joachim led the team in rebounds with 11 and also 3 for 6 shooting. So yeah, they had a huge fourth quarter to close out that win. Now I want to transition into kind of what had the phone lines going a little bit yesterday and had me, Jeff, and JJ going, some good conversation. And that was, what can the NBA do to improve the ratings? Okay, so what can the NBA do to improve the ratings? And when you're discussing how can you improve something, you have to first try to identify if and what the problems are. So go through and try to figure out why the ratings are dropping in the first place. Okay. Yesterday, after the show, we were having this discussion, and I actually went through and found the list of like the viewers every single year. And I noticed that in 2003, the year where Michael Jordan retired, his last season, the All-Star game had 10 million viewers. The years following his retirement, it never hit double digits again. Now, originally, we thought that was just because of Jordan. Then Josh Sushan of the Isotopes sent us a text message, let us know that there are some more things that went into play there. The long story being short, the ratings dropped under 10 million in 2004, and they never went back up to 10 million any year after that. Well, last weekend's All-Star game was the second lowest all time. Okay, I think they clocked it at like 4 million viewers or something like that, which is really, really bad. Even in like 2009, it was like 9 million. Okay, 2016, 2017, it was around the 8 million range. And now it has gone as low as 4 million viewers, and the All-Star game is not the only thing that has lowered the ratings, that has low ratings. Okay, the NBA regular season has lower ratings. Anything the NBA puts out right now, the ratings have been dropping. And I feel like a lot of us are in denial as to what the problem is, but I think there's two things that are very, very obvious. And I remember going over this a couple months ago when I filled in for Jeff and JJ over Christmas break. And I pointed out two clear things, and then I went home that afternoon and I heard Magic Johnson pretty much take the words out of my mouth. Okay? It's number one, everyone's too friendly. It's too friendly of an atmosphere. It's okay to be cool with these guys, but be cool with them off the court. When they play on the court, you can tell that there's no like true grit or competition anymore. Some teams play with it, okay? The Celtics, they play with it. The Cavaliers, the Thunder, they play with it. But also, not coincidentally, I just named the top 3 teams in the NBA, basically. I basically just named the top 3 teams in the NBA. So the good teams understand it. But on the nightly basis, there's not enough teams that understand what those teams understand. And that's that you got to play physical. You got to get to the free throw line. You got to take some mid-range shots, although the Celtics shoot a ridiculous amount of threes. The fast break threes, the pace of the game is so fast. It's not as fun to watch. Why do you think soccer is so much bigger in other countries than it is here? And here, the number one sport is American football. Because in America, Americans like seeing some sort of violence or I don't want to say roughhousing, but like, if to my knowledge, there's not things like the WWE in other countries. Like that's an American thing.
Yeah, we want competition.
Yeah.
We want them to put some sweat and blood into it.
Yeah, you know?
Yeah. That's a good point.
And it's like, even if it's like the WWE and it goes to the extent where it's not real, but it's all about the imagery. It's all about making it look a certain way. Americans like that. In the NFL, the views, I actually would have to look at it. I would imagine that in 2006, 2007, and 2005, as a country, there were more people that were diehard NFL fans than there is now. And the reason why I feel that's the case, and I've noticed a change, is because in 2005, 2006, you were allowed to smash a guy coming across the middle of the field. There wasn't all of these roughing the passer penalties on defenses. Okay, there wasn't flags thrown for sneezing on somebody in 2006. So that version of the NFL, whether the viewership reflects it or not, most NFL fans prefer the old style of football because it was more violent. So when you go to the NBA and you don't see people getting into the paint as much, driving as much, you don't see as much post play, you don't see as much pushing and shoving after the whistle and rivalries and players that don't like each other, it makes it less entertaining. It's not as fun to want to tune into the game. You have to just be a fan of basketball to be interested. Okay, drama attracts consumers. I don't even want to say Americans when it comes to drama, because in any country in the world, when there's drama, more people are going to look. And there's no drama in the NBA right now, which is why I believe the viewership is dropped. There's no LeBron versus Kobe type of tension. There's no Jordan versus the Pistons tension. There's no Kobe Shaq tension on the same team. There's just not enough drama in the NBA. So those are some of the reasons I have. But, of course, that's a topic that I'd like to hit multiple times, and I'd like to kind of stick on as far as NBA. But I want to hone in on the All-Star game and that dunk contest and what needs to change to make All-Star Weekend a little bit more appealing to the fans. So when we get back after the break, we got dunk contest talk. You're listening to The Opening Drive. I'm Zay Johnson. Jerry Wright's in the studio producing for me, and you're listening to 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal.
Go to nmfastfood.com.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All in Autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some of the greats, and share your own legacy. Visit All In Autographs, where you can celebrate the great and have your own piece of history.
I'm David C. Chavez, personal injury attorney. For over 4 decades, our law firm has remained steadfast in our commitment to serving the remarkable people of New Mexico that have been injured through no fault of their own. I'm a New Mexican fighting for New Mexicans. I received my bachelor's degree at NMSU and earned my law degree at UNM. I can proudly say I'm both an Aggie and a Lobo. Call now and I will meet with you. 40 years strong, and we're still as local as red and green.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com. Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
The Yeller Sub, located on 7200 Montgomery Boulevard, serves breakfast all day long along with classic hot and cold subs. Don't forget about our shakes, malts and floats made with your favorite Blue Bell ice cream. 45 years and still going strong. Come on down to the Yeller Sub, official sandwich of ProView Networks.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard offers both commercial and residential roofing and solar services. For more info, please call 505-821-9543. Evergard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
I might not be in the cage as much anymore. Just like riding a bicycle, I can pick up the fight from where I left.
Welcome back in to the opening drive. I'm Zay Johnson, Jerry Wright in the studio. We're on 95.9 FM and AM 610. These sports aren't animal. The phone lines are still open. 505-246-0610. Lobo fans, you're allowed to call in and vent. If you want to call in and make the whole show about your feelings after that Lobo loss last night, feel free to do so. Touched on it in the first half. Going to touch on it again a little later on, but anytime you want to go there, we can go there. I know how it is after some of the losses. The emotions are flowing. But we're talking some basketball right now, but not Lobos at the moment. Talking the NBA and how they can fix this All-Star Weekend problem, or just an NBA problem in general. Man, I tell you what, a thing I've been hearing a lot that I'm starting to hop on the train with is that LeBron may have single-handedly ruined the dunk contest. Like, he may have actually...
He broke it? He broke the game. LeBron.
He did. I tell you what, he set the bar so high without doing it that now the excitement could just never be the same. We would need stars to hop in the game. So LeBron in 2009, during a great dunk contest, grabs the microphone and says, "Oh yeah, next year I'm joining. I'm hopping in the dunk contest next year. I'm hopping in this thing. I'm going to do it." And keep in mind, at that time, LeBron was probably the best in-game dunker. And that was during the years where every single game, before the game, he was doing like 10 out of 10 dunks in the layup line. Like times I did not call for him to be doing dunks, he's throwing the ball off the backboard, behind the back, dunking it with one hand. He's doing all types of different trick dunks. So we knew he could do it. And then he said he was going to enter the dunk contest the following year. The following year rolls around, he just doesn't enter. He doesn't do the dunk contest and never speaks about it from that day on. So he kind of like left us a little high and dry with it. And then before LeBron, every single star, for the most part, did the dunk contest at least once. Every single, like, true legend tried it at least once. Dr. J did it. Jordan did it. Kobe even did it. Vince Carter did it. Then LeBron comes along, has arguably the best career out of all of them, and he never does it. So then you notice no other stars hopped in the dunk contest. You know, Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine put on one of the best dunk contests, but they weren't stars. So, like, after LeBron came along, you didn't see any more of the top athletes hopping in because if LeBron doesn't do it, why should I have to do it? No, if you're Anthony Edwards, if you're John Morant, if LeBron's not doing it, why should I have to do it? So he's allowed such a big time lapse before a star has hopped in the dunk contest. Now you see guys that are coming from the G League who, by the way, Mac McClung, if you would have taken his dunks and put them in a lot of other years, he still would have won the dunk contest. So I want to put that out there that this is, in my opinion, it wasn't a situation where the only reason he's winning is because there's no competition. I think he's winning because he's that good of a dunker, but I think that there shouldn't be such a big gap between his dunks and second place. And right now there's a huge gap. So after the dunk contest, John Morant goes to Twitter and he tweets out, Mac McClung's got me wanting to hop in the dunk contest. Okay. And then he replies to that tweet and he says, Aaron Gordon, Zach LaVine, what's up? Zach LaVine responds to the tweet. He says, I've still got some stuff. Aaron Gordon responds, I might have to hop in again. Then Giannis quotes Josh's tweet, and Giannis says, if you do it, I'll do it. And I tell you what, that right there is the number one step and the biggest step that needs to be taken for this weekend to come back. It doesn't need to be the three-point contest. We already saw Steph in there. It doesn't need to be the skills competition. It doesn't need to be the Rising Stars competition. It needs to be the dunk contest, and it needs to have big names. If we have a dunk contest with John Morant, Aaron Gordon, Giannis, say Zion, Anthony Edwards, and Mac McClung, that would be the number one rated dunk contest in 10 years. That would be the most watched All-Star weekend and the most watched dunk contest in the past 10 years, hands down. So the stars are so reluctant to hop in the dunk contest. So if they finally hop in, the viewership will come back. And yet we're still left here wondering what the problem is and why the NBA is losing viewership when the stars can directly affect things like this. So here's actually Michelle Beadle. I'm going to play this real quick before we've got to take another break soon, don't we? Okay, so I'm going to play this real quick. I got to play it off my phone so that you guys on the stream can hear it as well. But here's Aaron Gordon making some controversial statements, to say the least, when asked about joining the dunk contest again. And he's being interviewed by Michelle Beadle.
It's funny because all week long, and then even after the dunk contest, we sort of just started talking about the greatest dunk contests of all time. Vince Carter got like a 30-minute whole episode of television they basically did around his. And you and Zach LaVine were brought up so many times. A lot of people thought maybe that you were robbed in that particular 2016 contest. Where do you feel like that year ranked as far as dunk contest total?
Personally, I think that was the best one.
Of course.
You know, I think there is like a bit of nostalgia that like plays into that 2000 dunk contest, you know. Respectfully, like Vince Carter is like GOAT, you know what I mean? But I think if you put my 4 dunks up against Vince Carter's 4 dunks, like objectively, I think my 4 dunks were better.
Okay. No, I do think, as a person on the older side of everything, I do think that there's a lot of nostalgia. I mean, when we talk about the whole weekend in general,
So, I mean, he believes that his dunks were better than Vince Carter's. And as you can see on the stream, great job by Adrian. I mean, look at these dunks. There's no way you can honestly try to tell me that what we're seeing should be ranked anywhere near the top when it comes to viewership. It just shouldn't. I mean, Mac McClung was the only guy that was worth watching. And by the way, he did an awesome job. I'll say it again. You could have taken his dunk lineup and placed it in any of the other dunk contests, and he gets out of the first round for sure. And he's competing to win in every single one. So he is that good. But with that being said, we do have to take a break. And I mentioned earlier that there was a Hall of Famer that made a very, very specific comment to another future Hall of Famer, I believe, in the NFL. And we're going to hop into that when we get back after the break. You're listening to The Opening Drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, The Sports Animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard offers both commercial and residential roofing and solar services. For more info, please call 505-821-9543. Evergard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
I might not be in the cage as much anymore. Just like riding a bicycle, I can pick up the fight from where I left off. I'm not some slick-haired outsider posing with borrowed gloves. I grew up here. New Mexico is in my blood. I'm a New Mexican fighting for other New Mexicans. I'm Adam Oki. I'll be your champion in the courtroom.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com. ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit hanswhitlerauto.com. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Got shots? Got shots? Got shots?
During Got Shots, participating providers open their doors for any child who presents for immunizations, regardless of whether they are a patient or whether they have insurance.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
The Yeller Sub, located on 7200 Montgomery Boulevard, serves breakfast all day long along with classic hot and cold subs. Don't forget about our shakes, malts and floats made with your favorite Blue Bell ice cream. 45 years and still going strong. Come on down to the Yeller Sub, official sandwich of ProView Networks.
I'm a Blaze King customer, and I have been for the last 10 years. Blaze King stoves are very efficient, they're easy to maintain, and they use a lot less wood than you would typically use with a fireplace.
Blaze King, that's a fire.
The heat is on when it's a Blaze King wood stove, controlling heat up to 40 hours on a single load of wood with a built-in thermostat. See for yourself at either Blaze King showroom, Albuquerque and Santa Fe. Blaze King, and now that's a fire.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
And the sports animal. I'm Zay Johnson, Jerry Wright in the studio producing for me. Getting ready to talk a little bit of NFL, and as I cross over into the NFL, man, I just see a wild headline. But before I get in that headline, I believe on the line we have Mike. Mike wants to talk some Lobos. How you doing, Mike? Good morning.
Yo, what's up, Zay? Thanks for taking my call, man. Hey, I want to touch on a couple of things. First off, good show, bro. Good show.
I appreciate it.
And number two, dude, I think that the loss last night is a galvanizing thing for the Lobos. You know, these late season losses, especially when they're just one-offs like that, they tend to, a good team with a good coach, which definitely the Lobos have, can put those kind of losses into perspective and turn that into fuel, into momentum. You know, it's not like you're in the middle of a losing streak or things like that. That's completely different, right?
Yeah, I 100% agree.
And so one more thing I want to say, too, about that whole topic is, man, look at the love, or should I say lack of love, that the Mountain West Conference is getting in the polls. The SEC is just up and down the top 25 like nobody's business. You got like 9 and 10 lost teams in the top 25 and not a single Mountain West team.
Yeah.
I thought about that.
Yeah, no, that's a great point as well. And I've been hearing that a lot lately, that, the Mountain West just isn't getting a lot of love as far as the rankings are concerned. And if you look last year, I mean, the Mountain West put 6 teams into the tournament. So I don't know if the pollers, they're seeing something different just within the teams, if they felt that was a mistake.
Well, I mean, 6 teams made the tournament. They all had real quick exits. Maybe that's what they're looking at. Like, I'm really not sure. I just wanted to point that out and say, man, it looks, because I think that, I mean, I don't know, it seems like the Lobos are definitely bent on being first in the Mountain West, but I don't know. They're like not quite national championship caliber team. But hey, here's my next topic. This is what I was going to say about the All-Star game. Is that the biggest difference between the NFL and the NBA is the NBA is run by the players. The owners have to bow down and coddle to every need and want that the players have. They're like a bunch of big babies. They're a bunch of big 3- and 4-year-olds that you give everything you want to. You give them the iPad. You give them the candy, and then all they do is cry and cry and cry. They never do what you want them to do, Unlike the NFL. The NFL is shrewd executives. They will cut your ass at any time. They don't care. They're moving on. It's about the dollars. It's about the product. The NBA has no desire to improve the product. They just want to make sure that those big, gigantic babies are well-fed, bottle-fed, and taken care of. Thanks for taking my call today. Have a great day, bro.
Yes, sir, Mike. Thank you. That was a great call. Lots to unpackage there. And he hit it right on the head at the end. In the NBA, I thought that I think they're trying to move in the right direction, right? The owners are, in a way. You look at the Lucas situation, and then you look at the Jimmy Butler situation, where, yes, Jimmy Butler wanted out of Miami, so eventually he did get what he wanted. But whether it was some sort of, like, negotiation tactic that he was using, or no matter, like, I don't know exactly what he was trying to do by saying he didn't want to go to Golden State, and that is why he was saying he didn't want to go in Golden State, and that's why the trade talks had fallen through. But then all of a sudden he gets traded to Golden State and he signed a 2-year deal. So it's like, okay, were you just saying that so that they would offer you more money to stay there? Or did you just get forced to go there? So now you're like, all right, well, I guess I'll sign because you guys traded me anyways. I didn't prefer to be here, but since you did it anyways, I guess I'll sign. Whereas in Luka's situation, I mean, you look at him there, and it's like that's a guy that was supposed to be untradeable, you know. And I guess he was pushing the wrong buttons of the front office. And although he's 25 years old and sitting in his prime, he still got traded. So the NBA owners, I believe, are trying to do their best job at like taking the power back. But in the NFL, you know, the players, they only have so much power. You know, you get your lockouts and you get, you know, your things when the players union goes against the owners and things like that. But for the most part, yeah, like what Mike said is 100% correct. They are in line. They don't really act out. You got your wide receiver divas, okay, and you've got your guys that will hold out and not come to training camp until they get paid. But also, you understand a little bit more because in the NFL, I mean, listen, all sports have injuries, okay, and I'm not going to sit here and talk about what sport I think is better. But in the NBA, there's a lot less risk of injury than the NFL. Now, that's just my opinion. There could be stats that say otherwise, but in my personal opinion, injury is more guaranteed in the NFL. There's a higher risk. It's more guaranteed. And although NBA players are paid more than NFL players, I think that in the NFL, there's more of a risk. So I feel like they're of the mindset of, okay, well, I need to get paid guaranteed money if I'm going to show up. So I need to know I'm set for the future if I'm going to show up for you guys. So I think that's why players will still fight back against the owners. But like what Mike said, I think that the NFL players, they're pretty much in tune. The NFL as a business, it runs pretty smooth. And that's why they are number one in the country. So that being said, when we come back, I got some more NFL stories about these burglars that were going for these athletes in their homes when they weren't there. So we're going to get into that when we come back in the second hour. You're listening to The Opening Drive. I'm Zay Johnson on 95.9 FM and AM 610, The Sports Animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
I'm David C. Chavez, personal injury attorney. For over 4 decades, our law firm has remained steadfast in our commitment to serving the remarkable people of New Mexico that have been injured through no fault of their own. I'm a New Mexican fighting for New Mexicans. I received my bachelor's degree at NMSU and earned my law degree at UNM. I can proudly say I'm both an Aggie and a Lobo. Call now and I will meet with you. 40 years strong, and we're still as local as red and green.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, backed by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
From the Sandia foothills to the banks of the Rio Grande, generations of families remain. For 5 generations, Gala Chevrolet has handed down values written in stone, leading the way under sun-filled skies, past the vintage glow of Route 66. Built by generations past, built for generations to come. This is New Mexico. This is Gallus.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All in Autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some of the greats, and share your own legacy. Visit All In Autographs, where you can celebrate the great and have your own piece of history.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. TurboThreads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sport shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. TurboThreads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for TurboThreads.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros.
It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the sports animal. Here's Jeff Symbieta and JJ Buck.
Welcome back to the opening drive. The second hour is now underway, and we are making that transition to the NFL. Lobos took a tough loss last night. This is a 3-hour-long vent line, hotline, whatever you want to call it. 505-246-0610. How are we feeling following last night's loss? Again, I'm here to reassure you guys that there's no reason to fret, no reason to be upset. It was a tough one, but again, bit of a trap game. Boise State 12-1 at home. Lobos have not been able to squeak a win off there since Kenny Thomas was playing the way it seemed when I looked at the chart. I mean, geez, it's been a little while. Shout out to Kenny. But it's been a little while since they've been able to get a win there. So anyways, as I look at this NFL headline, and I, remembered earlier this season seeing reports that like Mahomes and Joe Burrow and Travis Kelce and even Bobby Portis from the NBA had their houses broken into, like robbers coming in, taking their stuff. And, I always am fascinated by technology nowadays and how you're able to track these people down, how the government and these police stations, the FBI rather, are able to track these guys down. And of course, the athletes they decided to go and rob were not, the least wealthy people in the world. We're talking Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, boyfriend of Taylor Swift, and Joe Burrow. I mean, those are the three musketeers of money if we're going to talk NFL money. And those guys get robbed along with Bobby Portis. And we know the NBA, you can be a six-man. You could be a bench player and you're making NFL money. You're making Mahomes money. So Bobby Portis either. But these guys are tracked down, and to their ignorance, they were caught because they posted selfies with the things that they stole. And because of these selfies, primarily the picture of the stuff that they stole from Bobby Portis, that is the picture that got them caught.
Wah, wah.
It says images obtained and released by the FBI show 3 of the alleged burglars, along with an unidentified fourth man, posing with watches apparently stolen from the home of Milwaukee Bucks forward Bobby Portis Jr. Largely because of the images, the men are in federal custody and have been charged with conspiracy to commit interstate transportation of stolen property. They could face up to 10 years. And yeah, this is what Jeff was talking about yesterday. Like 10 years is not a lot at all. Like you have no idea what could have happened. But the key to the burglars' success up to now has been an ability to monitor not only their victims' schedules, but also the activities of police investigators and security teams watching over the athletes' homes. So you want to talk like the video game like Hitman or GTA? These guys were living a real-life fictional game. Like they were living a fictional movie. This is like, I mean, we're talking about guys tracking security schedules, tracking the schedules of these players. Like, it's not easy to just track the schedule of Patrick Mahomes. And I'm not trying to sit here and pat their backs by any means. But the point is, like, you know how dedicated you have to be to pull this off? To track the schedule of Travis Kelce, Joe Burrow. There's people that want to meet these guys that'll go their whole lives and never get to see these guys in person. And you got burglars plotting on the players themselves and the security team. So that's a crazy story that's been going around. You know, I imagine, like, I was talking about the money that these players have. I mean, look, this is not like a situation where you look at a bait car and you're like, oh, well, why would they put a bait car out there for the criminals? Well, the criminals are the victim. No. But, like, I do want to ask the question is, like, if you're a top-notch athlete like that, how do you not have security stiff enough to stop things like this from happening? Like an alarm system that sends the police to your house within minutes. Now, I understand that these are athletes and they're not like rappers and guys who usually live a lifestyle that would cause somebody to have like some sort of motive to come try and break into your home. Like, these are athletes, and you know there's no underlying motive other than money because these guys are Chilean. Like, it's not like these are kids from their high school that they went to high school with, and they're like, oh, that guy was a jerk in high school. Let's go rob his house. So, like, how do you not have the security, the backup plans to prevent things like this from happening? I tell you what, if athletes didn't have that beforehand, they're going to have it now. They're definitely going to have it now because there's a whole plot against them. And by the way, this is the same gang that hit all these athletes. It's the same gang. So as the years going on and we're hearing about this stuff little by little, you know, oh, this guy's house got robbed. Oh, this week it was Kelce. This week it was Mahomes. And then it's Burrow. It's all the same gang. And I need to look at the locations to see if it was in the same area, because that would have been, you know, absolutely absurd. You got to figure something out. You have all that money. You get a security plan in place so that guys can't just come rob your house like that. Now, granted, I've never been in that situation where I had to have, you know, security. No one wants to break into what I have.
We're radio folk.
Yeah. What do you want from me?
You want to come steal my can of beans at home?
I'm trying to get better at grocery shopping. Like, I've gotten to the point now where I'm disciplined enough to get myself to go to the store when I'm hungry and not just buy fast food. Uh-huh. But now I'm in that stage where I'm eating the groceries too fast.
Oh.
So I'm in the learning process. I'll buy a loaf of bread and it'll be gone in a day.
Oh,
and
wow.
I'm like, all right, back to the store.
Well, they could steal the dozen eggs I've got in my fridge.
Yeah, those are valuable.
Bad.
Yeah, freeze the eggs. Those are valuable right now.
There goes my retirement fund.
Yeah. Staying in the NFL, the draft talk's picking up, of course. you know, a lot in my free time, and what I'll probably do when I leave here is I like to just surf YouTube videos, right? My algorithm on YouTube is very, very, it's formed to me at this point. So I go on YouTube and I see the type of things I want to see, and it's all sports centered. And a lot of these draft prospects, and I think this is going to keep happening as the years go on, where these top draft prospects that are projected to be first and second and third in the draft, and we usually don't get to see these guys unless they're in an interview or, you know, the combine or their pro day or something like that. Well, nowadays with all these vlogs and all the streaming that's going on, a lot of these athletes, you can get up close and personal with them throughout the whole process, which I really think is going to change the way a lot of these guys are scouted and recruited, because usually a coach has to have a conversation with somebody, and not saying that that's not the case anymore, but we're allowed to look at a lot of these players and a lot of their mannerisms and their intangibles because everyone is so quick to post a training video or like vlogs of them training and show different things. And what I'm getting at is everything with Colorado or Deion Sanders attached to it in football right now is going to be recorded and put on YouTube. It's literally the job of Deion Sanders Jr. He records everything. He films everything. He's got his own media situation going on, and everything goes on his channel. And recently, there's been a lot of content posted with Shedeur, as always, and Cam Ward. So Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward, both of these guys, they're 1 and 2. However the order you want to put it, it's been leaning Cam Ward first lately. But these guys, they're good friends, but they also have like a competitive friendship where they talk trash to each other, they push each other, and they train together, and iron is sharpening iron. But in their situations, they are still both two very different quarterbacks. And there's been a lot of YouTube clips that have been put up lately that allow scouts and other NFL guys to really see them side by side. So it's not the same as just watching a Shedeur game versus watching a Cam Ward game and deciding how you want to compare the two. No, they're with each other. They're doing the same drills. They're doing the same motions, throwing to the same targets right after each other, back to back to back to back. So you're able to really look at these guys and compare them. And what I want to get into for this topic, and when we get back from the break, is Shedeur versus Cam Ward. Who is the better option? Who should be taken? And if the Titans would be making a mistake to take neither and go for Travis Hunter. So when we get back after the break, we've got NFL Draft Talk. You're listening to The Opening Drive. I'm Zay Johnson, and this is 95.9 FM AM 610, The Sports Animal.
This report is...
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
TurboThreads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sport shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. TurboThreads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for TurboThreads.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Sweet Rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All in Autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some of the greats, and share your own legacy. Visit All In Autographs, where you can celebrate the great and have your own piece of history.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
The Yeller Sub, located on 7200 Montgomery Boulevard, serves breakfast all day long along with classic hot and cold subs. Don't forget about our shakes, malts and floats made with your favorite Bluebell ice cream. 45 years and still going strong. Come on down to the Yeller Sub, official sandwich of ProView Networks.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
The opening drive, I'm Zay Johnson filling in for Jeff and JJ on this Thursday morning. Thank you for tuning in with me so far. As I know it hasn't been easy to wake up for the Lobo fans this morning, but we're getting your mind off of the basketball with a little bit of NFL talk, of course. And right now we're talking Shedeur Sanders versus Cam Ward, who I believe are the top 2 quarterbacks in the draft, who most believe are the top 2 quarterbacks in the draft. And I'm basically talking about the difference in this year going into the quarterback competition between 1 and 2 compared to any other year. You know, there's never been a year where leading up to the draft, you had your number 1 and number 2 ranked quarterbacks being great friends to the point where they were training with each other every day. Now, maybe it happened and we weren't able to see. the main thing people love telling football fans is, you don't know what these guys do in their everyday life. You don't know what they actually do. Like, you don't know who their real friends are. Well, nowadays, it's getting to the point where we kind of do, because they choose to let us know. They vlog it. They post it on YouTube. I mean, Shedeur Sanders, the videos that I was referring to right before the break, talking about him and Cam Ward, those are posted on his brother's YouTube account, Deion Sanders Jr. Shedeur's got his own account where he talks about what he's got going on in his life. And he sits down in front of the camera for 45 minutes and talks with one of his old teammates. Cam Ward has the same thing. Cam Ward has his on YouTube where he posts his training videos. So moving forward, instead of necessarily having to go attend these pro days and attend these training sessions in the combine in order to see what these guys can do, look, we got plenty of film on it. There's a 15-minute video on YouTube right now of the top 2 quarterback prospects doing the same drills with each other. Now, of course, it's going to be more serious when you're at an actual combine. But I tell you what I noticed from watching those videos. Shedeur Sanders, he has a switch he can flip. Cam Ward, I believe he's always locked in. I think he's the same always. And again, none of the things I'm going to highlight here are negatives. I think both of these quarterbacks are great. I think if I had to choose one, it would just depend on what I wanted in a quarterback. Me personally, I like pocket passers. I think the ability to function at a high enough level to get the ball out quick enough to the point where you don't have to run around, I would choose that over somebody who has the ability to run around but doesn't process the play as quick as a pocket passer. But that's just me. But when you're watching these two, you're watching these videos, you notice that Shedeur, it's very, very often that he's joking around during the drills. He's laughing middle of the reps. He's more of like a horse player where he has fun, but then he locks in when he needs to. Whereas Cam Ward, he is more of he's a funny guy all the time, but he has a different level of seriousness.
Hello.
He's got a different level of seriousness. Sorry, you could hear Jerry answering the phone back there. But yeah, Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, I think when you're watching these videos and you're seeing these two guys throw and do the same drills, you notice that Cam Ward has a lot more zip on the ball. He's got a stronger arm. Whereas I think Shedeur Sanders, the ball hangs a little bit more, but he's more accurate with it. So again, it's just back to what you think works better, what you think would be best for a quarterback. And I know it's a really cliche down the middle answer, but that's just really what it is. I mean, it's like, do you want zip on the ball and a little less accurate, or do you want less zip on the ball, more accuracy? I don't know. I'm the GM, so I don't have any special preferences for a team that I could have. But like I said, I would choose a pocket passer. And we have a caller on the line. I believe it's Robert. Good morning, Robert. How you feeling?
Oh, doing fine. Yeah, that was a tough loss last night. However, I don't think it's any reason to jump off the bandwagon. The way I look at it, the Lobos have a really good chance of winning the conference. We have New Mexico at San Diego State, New Mexico and Nevada, and UNLV at home. I don't think anybody expected us to go the rest of the season without a loss in the conference again.
Yeah.
So I think I think they have a real good chance of winning the conference. It was a tough loss, but Boise State played pretty good. And then that new freshman, he really contributed. Apparently he scored like 20 points. He's going to make a big difference. They needed somebody like that. anyway, just wanted to give you my thoughts on the rest of the season. And you guys have a great day.
No, thank you, Robert. Thank you for the call. Great call. Again, Lobo fans, 505-246-0610. Feel free to call in with your reactions to that game last night. And, what Robert said, you can't just have an expectation to not lose another game all season long. So that's and like Mike said earlier, we have a coach who has shown that they know how to bounce back from things like this. And also, not only does the schedule look favorable for the Lobos, you take a look at Utah State's schedule, and they have to play San Diego State. Okay, sure, it's a winnable game, but then they take on Boise State. They've got to go into Boise and try to beat that Boise State team that's only lost one time at home this year. So that's something they have to do. When you take a look at the next game after that, they have to play Colorado State at Colorado State. So Utah State, who I believe, they're the team that would be there to spoil the end of the season for the Lobos. Not only do the Lobos have a tiebreaker, but they got to play Boise State at Boise, and they got to play Colorado State in Colorado. So that's not the most favorable looking schedule if you're trying to compare, the chances that the Lobos could lose that number one seed. We got another caller on the line, Marty. Good morning, Marty. You're now live.
What's going on, sir? I think that was a good loss. You weren't going to go undefeated. Let's be real, okay? So if you're a Lobo fan, you think you're going to go undefeated and run it all the way through the Mount West tournament. That wasn't going to happen. So you were due for a loss. I think they had like the 6th or 7th longest winning streak in the country. So all these teams are eventually going to lose. Ask Auburn. You remember Florida beat a couple of those teams. Tennessee. It's going to happen. Of course, those that rank teams, I think they've been extremely biased, but it's nothing new. It's nothing new. I'm not, it's just because I think a lot of it is the Mountain West who's been down, so they don't put a lot of credence to a lot of these wins within the conference. It wasn't like last year where you had 6 teams. I think this year, even San Diego State. The only thing I say, and it's because maybe of their pedigree, if San Diego State had been where the Lobos are this year, they for sure would probably already be like the 12th or 14th best team in the country.
Oh, wow.
It's just weird how rankings work,
Yeah.
It's just perception, I guess. But, hey, you know what? Lobos got to go out there. I think they're still going to have their best. I'm going to go out on a limb and predict probably their best season ever. And I mean that. They're going to go to the Mount West in the NCAA tournament and make some noise because they are a matchup problem for a lot of these teams. And Boise State needed to shoot lights out just to win. They needed that. They needed to shoot like that. They played the way they needed to play with 29-year-old Degenhardt out there. That's a joke.
To 15 free throws.
Right, but they're due for they were due for a loss. It's not a bad loss, and I like the way they closed the gap at the end. They didn't quit. They didn't quit. They kept fighting to the end, and maybe you have a couple more minutes, that game gets really interesting. But Dent didn't have his best game. I thought he was a little bit sloppy with the ball.
Shooting was a little off.
Yep, but they'll be all right. They got to get some of these guys back. Emzo's been hurt. I don't know how that plantar fasciitis is going, but those things can take some time.
Oh, yeah.
But I was going to say about the quarterbacks, I think it's going to be a weak quarterback class. I think we have gotten into this thing every year now that we think all these guys are great quarterbacks, right? We got into this thing saying, he's a friend. We don't know that. Most of these guys don't pan out. Most of these guys. Jaden Daniels can turn around next year and have a stinker year. And then they're like, it was just that rookie year. But, I mean, he didn't show that. He showed like he's going to be good. And, he showed that some of these teams that pass on him are going to regret it.
Mm-hmm.
But
if you had to pick one quarterback,
be good.
If you had to pick one quarterback from this class that you think will translate the best, who would it be? Or is there any?
I think it's Shedeur right now because I think he already sort of played in a pro set style of offense.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? You got to be able to run the ball now, though. It seems like to me.
Yeah.
You saw what Jalen Hurts did in the Super Bowl, And I think that's what hurts Dak, is that from a Cowboy perspective, as a fan, I think that's where his injuries have really hurt him, because he was able to run the ball. I mean, you've got to be able to run the ball because there's so much emphasis on the pass rush more than ever.
Yeah, so
you've got to be able to get those sneaky runs. And
so are you like me? You want
Eagles beat the Chiefs? They stopped Mahomes from doing all those little sneaky runs.
Yeah. So are you like me for Dallas, or do you want them to go for Ashton Genty, or do you want somebody else in the first round and you think it's too early to draft a running back?
No, you got to get Genty. I mean, they don't come around.
I like you.
Yeah, you just can't say, we have other needs, and then it's a Stephen Jones thing to do and get a lineman. That's fine, but that's fine. I've seen it, but you've got to be ready to maybe get a running back in the second round or a free agency or something. You can't.
Yeah, from the way it seems,
expect to win with what you did last year.
From the way it seems, if Genty's not there, I think they might go wide receiver. They might go Burden or Tet, the guy from Arizona. If he's there, I hear if that McMillan guy from Arizona is there, they would take him over Genty.
Yeah, that guy is a game changer, but man, you already got a guy like that.
Exactly.
You just need a compliment. You already got a guy like that. You got arguably one of the best receivers in football, so why would you? You got to compliment it, right? So, yeah, certainly the tight end is intriguing for me, Warren. If he's there, the Cowboys are big on their board. They don't really get away from it. They don't get away from it. It's like they're sort of predictable, they get on that board, and if they got Genty 18th and they got Warren 12th, they'll take Warren. That's how they,
Well, we'll have to see. Thank you. It was an awesome call. My favorite call of the day thus far.
All right, my man. Take care. Have a good day.
Yes, sir. You as well. I love when the Cowboy fans call in, You love when the Cowboy fans show out. Lobo fan and the Cowboy fan, you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong.
No, yep, that's good.
Yeah, and we both deal with some of the similar things historically, I believe. So I think we're in the same mindset mentally. But no, back to the Lobos, what he was saying, made some great points. And again, Utah State, they've got a tough schedule. So, when it comes tournament time, I think we will see the best version of the Lobos. I think this will be the last loss we'll see from them until that time comes. I don't want to jinx them, so I'll knock on wood, but that's just how I feel about it. I think every time they've lost, they go on a win streak, and I think this time will be no different. So when we get back from the break, though, I know I've been teasing it for a little bit, but Lawrence Taylor, arguably the greatest player, not just defensive player, arguably the greatest NFL player in NFL history, has opened up a bit of a floodgate on one of the most controversial players in the NFL right now. And we're going to talk about that when we get back after the break. Phone lines are open, 505-246-0610. And you're listening to 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
This report brought to you by
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
Got shots? Got shots? Got shots?
During Got Shots, participating providers open their doors for any child who presents for immunizations, regardless of whether they are a patient or whether they have insurance.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All In Autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some of the greats, and share your own legacy. Visit All In Autographs, where you can celebrate the great and have your own piece of history.
From the Sandia foothills to the banks of the Rio Grande, generations of families remain. For 5 generations, Gallus Chevrolet has handed down values written in stone, leading the way under sun-filled skies, past the vintage glow of Route 66. Built by generations past, built for generations to come. This is New Mexico. This is Gallus.
TurboThreads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sport shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. TurboThreads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for TurboThreads.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit HansWhitlerAuto.com.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
I'm David C. Chavez, personal injury attorney. For over 4 decades, our law firm has remained steadfast in our commitment to serving the remarkable people of New Mexico that have been injured through no fault of their own. I'm a New Mexican fighting for New Mexicans. I received my bachelor's degree at NMSU and earned my law degree at UNM. I can proudly say I'm both an Aggie and a Lobo. Call now and I will meet with you. 40 years strong, and we're still as local as red and green.
The Yeller Sub, located on 7200 Montgomery Boulevard, serves breakfast all day long along with class.
And JJ right here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal. Phone lines are open, Lobo fans, 505-246-0610. Or if you're a fan of any team, any topic, any fan, any player, throw it on me and I can handle it. But right now, we are talking NFL legends. And that legend specifically is Lawrence Taylor. You know, we were just speaking last segment about how a lot of these draft prospects like Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders, how they have like these vlogs and YouTube channels and things that give us different and more detailed insight on these players than we're used to having typically, historically, I should say. And Lawrence Taylor was on a podcast as of recent, and this is called the Outkick the Coverage podcast. And they were discussing young defensive stars that should be compared to himself. And the host, former professional wrestler Tyrus, believes that current defensive greats shouldn't be compared to Taylor until they've been out of the game for a couple of decades so that their full impact can be discussed. Taylor agreed and then took his shot when talking about Micah Parsons. He's a great player, but guys, let's do more. Let's play more football and less podcast. Pew, pew, pew. Shots fired from Lawrence Taylor at Micah Parsons saying less podcast, more playing. Now, part of me agrees, but part of me doesn't. And the only part that doesn't agree, that part was born when Micah Parsons returned from his injury last season and instantly dominated while he was doing his podcast. Now, with that being said, I think there's other negatives to doing an in-season podcast that doesn't just mean on the field negatives. Okay, Micah Parsons last year, after he returned from his injury, he led the NFL in sacks, he led the NFL in quarterback pressures, and he led the NFL in quarterback pressure rate. So on 19.5% of plays, he got pressure on the quarterback. That's 1 every 20. 1 every 5, sorry. It's 1. So every 5 snaps, Micah Parsons was getting pressure on the quarterback. It's not game wrecking, but obviously it's high because it's number 1 in the NFL. So when he got back from his injury, he came back while doing his podcast and had a big effect on games. Now, the season didn't matter at that point when he came back. I actually, still to this day, it irks me that they won as many games as they did in the second half of the season because could have been a top 10 pick. Could have had a top 10 pick in the draft. Now we're stuck hoping that Genty falls to 12. But with that being said, Lawrence Taylor, I think this is more of a you can't blame him for saying it type of comment because he's old school. You know, back then, I think what's happening is the generation of Lawrence Taylor are just the players that were a generation above this one. They're going to look at doing a podcast the same way that parents may view their kid playing the video game instead of doing their homework. Like they view it as going and hanging out with friends instead of studying. Whereas I think this generation, they view it as working while working. In their mind, they view it as work. They view it as just expressing their opinions for their sponsors, or it could be just for fun. But, you know, it's not like he's doing some podcast on politics. You know, he's doing an NFL-centered podcast. He's talking about things that remain in his lane. You know, for me, a big thing I did when I was faced with a bunch of injuries once I got into college and I was playing college football is like whenever I wasn't able to be on the field, playing a video game that was football based, so playing Madden, for me, kept my brain locked in on football because the concepts were the same and they've done the best they can to make the game realistic. So for me, it kept my mind fresh on football. I think for a lot of these players, you know, it's not like Micah's missing practice for the podcast. It's not like Micah was missing lifts for the podcast. I feel like if you can get what you need to get done finished, then yeah, you can have your podcast. Now, where things can go negative is if he starts saying things that are controversial. He starts saying things that cause reporters to ask his teammates questions that they don't feel like being asked. If it becomes a distraction like that, where he's saying things that are drawing reactions and adding pressure onto the team, that is when I think Micah Parsons needs to tone it back on his podcast. Which, with all that being said, I think he's done that before. He's flirted with that before. You know, every time we hear about Micah saying something nowadays, he said it on his podcast. Oh, we're going to win the Super Bowl next year. Or we're not finished. You know, getting on the screen saying, oh, our season's not over. As the Cowboys were sitting at like 5-9. Oh, our season's not over. Yes, it is, brother. And now by you doing that, and you're representing the Cowboys, you're supposed to be the leader of the team. So now anything Micah says on his podcast, technically it represents the locker room because no one's as big as him speaking. So those are some reasons why I think a guy like Lawrence Taylor could say, hey, let's podcast. But as far as on the field play, I mean, Micah came back and dominated the NFL. Any game where he struggled in, it's impossible to pinpoint it on his podcast. He just has put himself in situations to look kind of crazy because it's like, all right, dude, you said this and this in your podcast. Now you're getting thrown around in the game. So I think he just makes life harder on himself by deciding to have that podcast. But Lawrence Taylor, if anybody's going to have an opinion, he can be the one, right? He can be the one. When we come back after the break, I'm going to go out into deep waters a little bit as far as I'm concerned. And we're going to talk about this topic I saw coming up with the MLB and how their cap situation, or lack of, I should say, could possibly be unfair to other teams. And I'm going to offer my opinion on what I think the MLB should and could do moving forward to dodge this, no pun intended. When we get back after the break, you're listening to The Opening Drive on 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal.
This report.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit HansWhitlerAuto.com.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
I'm David C. Chavis, personal injury attorney. For over 4 decades, our law firm has remained steadfast in our commitment to serving the remarkable people of New Mexico that have been injured through no fault of their own. I'm a New Mexican fighting for New Mexicans. I received my bachelor's degree at NMSU and earned my law degree at UNM. I can proudly say I'm both an Aggie and a Lobo. Call now and I will meet with you. 40 years strong and we're still as local as red and green.
The Yeller Sub, located on 7200 Montgomery Boulevard, serves breakfast all day long along with classic hot and cold subs. Don't forget about our shakes, malts and floats made with your favorite Blue Bell ice cream. 45 years and still going strong. Come on down to the Yeller Sub, official sandwich of ProView Networks.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
From the Sandia foothills to the banks of the Rio Grande, generations of families remain. For 5 generations, Gallus Chevrolet has handed down values written in stone, leading the way under sun-filled skies, past the vintage glow of Route 66, built by generations past, built for generations to come. This is New Mexico. This is Gallus.
I'm a Blaze King customer, and I have been for the last 10 years. Blaze King stoves are very efficient, they're easy to maintain, and they use a lot less wood than you would typically use with a fireplace.
Blaze King, that's a fire.
The heat is on when it's a Blaze King wood stove, controlling heat up to 40 hours on a single load of wood with a built-in thermostat. See for yourself at either Blaze King showroom, Albuquerque and Santa Fe. Blaze King, and now that's a fire.
Welcome back to the Sports Animal. on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal. I'm Zay Johnson filling in for Jeff and JJ right here on the opening drive. And the music you're hearing in the background is Jaws music because I'm going to the deep waters. I'm talking baseball in the third hour of the show. In a second in the third hour of the show. I'm talking a little bit of baseball. You know, and it's a topic that's always confused me with the MLB. It's always confused me because as an NFL and an NBA fan, over and over and over again, you know, growing up, I want all the best players on my team. And I'm being told there's this thing called the salary cap. You know, there's this thing that doesn't allow every team to just pay for the best players, unless you're the Rams. You can find a way to pull that off. But it tries to prevent that from happening. And if you are able to pull that off, there has to be something else you're lacking. That's what the whole point of the salary cap is to try to stop teams from being so overpowered. And then you look over to baseball, and they don't have that case. And that topic, I saw a lot coming across my screen. So we're going to talk about that. Also, speaking about salary caps, the NFL is having a huge, huge change to their salary cap as we go into the 2025 season. So we're going to talk about that as well in the third hour. And then my Lakers have taken 2 lumps on the nose. Luka and LeBron are going through their growing pains. And, you know, what I'm seeing right now is a little bit of confusion between LeBron and Luka, and they're having to figure out, you know, it sounds nice to say this is Luka's team. It sounds real nice to say that you're handing the torch to a 25-year-old. But will LeBron be able to physically hand it over? What does that look like? How will it look? I don't know. The Lakers don't know, and we're still trying to figure that out. But hopefully they figure it out quickly because they've lost 2 straight. When we get back in the third hour, we've got all of those topics and more as we wrap up the show. You're listening to The Opening Drive. I'm Zay Johnson on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Next in line. Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard offers both commercial and residential roofing and solar services. For more info, please call 505-821-9543. Evergard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
I might not be in the cage as much anymore. Just like riding a bicycle, I can pick up the fight from where I left off. I'm not some slick-haired outsider posing with borrowed gloves. I grew up here. New Mexico is in my blood. I'm a New Mexican fighting for other New Mexicans. I'm Adam Oki. I'll be your champion in the courtroom.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit hanswhitlerauto.com.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep. All your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Got shots? Got shots? Got shots?
During Got Shots, participating providers.
A little bit of MLB, okay? I've been seeing this topic come up, and, you know, when I first discovered this, I was on the afternoon show, 2 Men On, and Fred and Van are heavy baseball guys. I'm not a baseball guy at all, or at least I'm growing into it. Okay, growing up, I loved sports, but whenever I tried anything that involved like swinging a bat or swinging a golf club, I was never able to get it down. I don't know why. Like, I'd go to the batting cages and I'd swing with the baseball bat, and then after I'd hit the ball a few times, I was then terrified to hit the ball because they were metal bats, and I hated the way it felt in my hands. Oh. So not only was I swinging and missing, but I was scared to swing and hit the ball.
It hurts.
Yeah. So
Ow.
So imagine trying to swing the bat, hit the ball, and you really don't want to get the hit because you're scared of pain. But anyways, that happened when I was like 9 at one of those, you know, little carnival type things with the go-karts. And
okay, I got to bring this up though. But then you went into football because that never hurts. You taking the sack, you taking the hit. Yeah.
You know, at least in football, I felt there was a way to maybe avoid the pain, although that's still not true. But in baseball, I'm like, all right, to be any good, I have to hit the ball, and I hate hitting the ball. Yeah. So I guess I could have focused on defense, but oh well. I don't think it was meant to be.
Yeah, but nothing feels so good as making that outfield catch.
Yeah, I bet. I tell you what, if and when I'm blessed enough to have a kid, whether it be boy or girl, baseball, softball, I'm all for it. Yeah. Okay, I'm all the way interested into watching that. I've watched a good amount of baseball this past year. I was the sports writer at New Mexico Highlands for post-game, pre-game articles. So like baseball games, softball games, they usually would have double headers. So I would I'd finish the first game finished, I'd finish watching it, and then I would write a post-game article, like explaining what happened in detail. It's for a guy who doesn't watch baseball. I mean, like, I was going in detail, impressively about it, and basically paint the picture of what happened in the first game. And I'd have that first game finished by the time the second one started. So like within 10 minutes, I'd have it, boom, first one's out, second one in. I did the same for softball. So I've watched it good enough and I understand it, but I haven't watched it long enough for there to be some sort of passion on my end to really want to go and learn more about the MLB, the history of the MLB, you know, which teams are good, which teams aren't good. I'm sure it'll grow on me, right? I just applied for my little credentials for the Isotope games, so I'm going to use those to death. I'm going to go to as many Isotope games as I can so I can see what the hype is about the Isotope games. But the reason I got into the baseball topic was because this whole situation with there being no salary cap, right? And I don't understand. Maybe callers can help me out here. 505-246-0610. I need help understanding how the MLB has gone on this long with no salary cap and how other teams that make less money haven't thrown a big enough of a fit for this to be changed. I couldn't imagine being the owner of a team that was far less valuable than, say, the Dodgers. Okay? You're far less valuable than the Dodgers, and they're paying all these guys all this money because they bring in more money, and I'm financially not able to put together a team that dominant, but yet I'm still on the schedule to play the Dodgers. You know, like I'm still on the schedule to play this team. So financially, we're in completely different brackets. Okay, and it can be that way in the NBA, the NFL. You know, the Cowboys are the richest team in the NFL, and it's been that way for 30 plus years. And guess what? They haven't won a Super Bowl in 30 plus years. Okay? And sad enough, the way Jerry Jones operates, I'm afraid that even if it was baseball rules, he would still not spend the most money, even though they make the most money, and he'd be allowed to. He still wouldn't. But anyways, the MLB, you got the Dodgers, the Yankees, the two teams that were just in the championship. Those two teams make a lot more money than 98% of the entire league. So I don't understand how, if you're a team that makes less money and your goal is to be competitive, how are you just okay with this? How is this something that doesn't alarm you and make you want to do something about it? You know, it's one of those situations where I feel like when you look at the reason there is a salary cap in the NBA and the reason there is a salary cap in the NFL, it's to avoid this specific issue that the MLB, I don't want to say is facing, because I don't have enough knowledge on the MLB to tell you or to claim that it's facing an issue with this or not. Because if I'd have to assume if there was an issue that was that big and that glaring, then there would have been a salary cap already. So how could the league become more fair, per se, to other teams? I don't think adding a salary cap will do it. I think you should add a salary floor. Okay, I think you should add a salary floor. And what that's going to do is it's going to eliminate like your cry wolves of the group. And what I mean by your cry wolves is I mean your teams that are claiming, you have teams that are claiming they don't have the money to spend, but they actually do have the money to spend. They just aren't spending it. So if you add a salary floor, or I don't want to say salary, a floor, so you make it so that teams, no matter what, have to spend a certain amount of money. You have to spend this much money. And if your team isn't valuable enough for you to hit that threshold, the MLB allows you to get to that minimum. So at least set like a minimum so that if you're a team who is making money and you're not spending it, look, you have to spend this much money. Okay? We got to keep this competitive because you got to, the Dodgers and the Yankees, technically speaking, there should be no excuse for either one of those teams to not be a top 5 baseball team for the next 20 to 30 years. And we're talking the New York Yankees and the Los Angeles Dodgers. You got two teams that are both the most valuable, and they are able to pay for the most players. We've got Fred on the line. Welcome to the show, Fred. Hello, Fred, you there?
You hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. There you go.
Okay, good. Thanks for taking over for the guys. They need a break, and you're doing a great job, too. And, but talking about baseball, I want to talk about the Lobos, but you're talking about baseball, and let me turn – I have your show on TV. I'm going to turn it down. But anyway, I know everybody's complaining about this Major League Baseball disparity and stuff, and it's so funny how the Yankees haven't won since 2000, and the Dodgers have only won twice since '88, and they're spending all this dang money. And it does seem, I don't know how it works out, but no one seems to be able to win two World Series in a row.
Yeah, that's impressive.
So anyway, it's kind of strange how, even though you do think it's unfair, and until now, with the Dodgers spending $90 million, I don't know what's going to happen. But I'm just talking about in the past, it hasn't really mattered who makes what kind of money. The disparity is very wide. It's not the same. So anyway, but I wanted to call about the Lobos, though.
Of course.
We finally are getting recognition. Every time we almost make it into the top 25, we get beat. Like we lost to San Jose and we got beat. Now we lose to Boise and we got beat. And in today's paper in the USA, they have teams rising and teams falling, and of course New Mexico. They don't know that New Mexico lost, but I thought here we might have a nice article about New Mexico being one of the teams rising, and here we lose to Boise, which is sad. So it's kind of, but the one thing is, I think you brought this up a little bit. This is going to be a heck of a race coming down to the end, because San Diego State has to play Utah State. They got to play us. They got to play Boise State. Well, no, they don't play Boise State. They play Utah State and San Diego and New Mexico, and then San Diego State plays Utah State. Yeah, they do play Boise State and Colorado State, and then you got to include Boise State plays Utah State and Nevada and Colorado State. So it's just really good that it's going to make it a really great race when you think of all the teams that are having to play each other. It's not like somebody's got reign over not playing too many good teams now. I think the Lobos are really still sitting good. One more loss isn't a big deal. I just wish we would get the injuries taken care of and go from there. But anyway, that's all I want to call about. Just baseball. I'm just going to say the parity in baseball. It for some reason it's working just the way they're doing it. Although these teams are spending all this money and paying all this luxury tax, and so that's all I was calling about, though.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for the call, Fred. And I'm going to hit on everything you just talked about in just a second, because I believe we've also got a Robert on the line. So welcome to the opening drive, Robert. Thank you for calling in.
Yeah, earlier this morning, one of your callers mentioned the fact that Degenhardt was probably 29 years old. Well, it got me to thinking: there is no age limit according to the Google. It says while the College Athletic Association does not set an official age limit for students, so I didn't realize that. It seems to me they should set an age limit. And another, Mike Rice, the son of the coach there at Boise State, I believe he played into his early 30s and like 6 years. So at some point, I think they need to set an age limit. It turns out the oldest college athletic player was 40 years old. He played in South Carolina. He was a wide receiver. I don't know if I agree with that, but it's an interesting point that your caller brought up this morning. Thank you. Have a good day.
Of course. No, thank you for the call. That gave me a funny laugh. I actually want to see if just the fact that one of the callers said that and he casually was like, let me go see if that's even possible. And I guess technically it is. So that's a good guess. Yeah, no, there should definitely be an age difference. Look, I promise I didn't want to stop. Also, Tyson he was born in 2002, so he's 22 years old. So I think as far as the rules and morally, us as fans, I think he's allowed. And he's also a senior, so I think he's right on par. But, like, I didn't want to stop playing football. Number one, my body told me to. I had 5 surgeries in 6 years. But also, coming off the last one at New Mexico Highlands, they were telling me, like, hey, we can get you another year. And I already had this job lined up. Like, I knew that this job was going to be a possibility at doing the Isotope games at the least. But I knew that I would have a chance to get on air and be a producer. So I was like, you know, I don't know if I want to sign up for more injuries and really have to deal with that. But also, this was in 2023 when I made this decision. It was in the winter of it was like early 2023, like February. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to be 26 years old, you know, a defensive lineman getting by 18-year-old offensive lineman and be like pounding my chest. You know, it's like I want to make plays and I'd want to have an impact. But no matter how good of a play I made, in the back of my mind, I would think, like, I'm way older than these guys. You know, like, I'm way older than these guys. Like, I'm a little late. Now, I did it, like, I was hurt all the time, injuries all the time. So maybe, like, when you factor in total reps, I may have been, like, equivalent to a freshman. But as far as physically and mentally and like age-wise, I'm like, no, like this is just not a good look, and it wouldn't be a good look. So that was the final thing. Like, nah, I'm too old. I'm too old to be beating up on college kids.
You're what, 26?
I'm 27 now.
27?
Yeah. So I would have been 26.
Yeah, you're still a young man.
yeah, like young enough to where like maybe like arena or something like that I dabble into, but being 27 or 26 and beating up on kids that are fresh out of high school, I didn't. That's just not me. I'm a very, very transparent person. I'm very, very self-aware. I like to believe. I don't like setting myself up for failure. And this thing, it's a lose-lose. You make a play, you're too old, or you get beat and you got beat by somebody and you're already 26, 27 years old and you're getting thrown around. Yeah, not a good look. So I dodged that bullet. But when we get back after the break, I love the calls. Keep them coming. 505-246-0610. If you want to get me off the topic I'm on, feel free. We are kind of loose throwing this last hour, but I do have some topics that I will hit on if we get no callers. So stay tuned. Right after the break, we got more sports talk on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Open their doors for any child who presents for immunizations.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. TurboThreads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sports shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. TurboThreads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for TurboThreads.
ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit HansWhitlerAuto.com. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
From the Sandia foothills to the banks of the Rio Grande, generations of families remain. For 5 generations, Gala Chevrolet has handed down values written in stone, leading the way under under sun-filled skies, past the vintage glow of Route 66. Built by generations past, built for generations to come. This is New Mexico. This is Gallus.
High school sports are back. You can watch every ProView Network broadcast online on the NFHS network. Every moment from every game from every sport, including all NMAA state championship games. Get your monthly pass now. Just go to ProViewNetworks.com, click on the NFHS logo, and sign up today. Watch New Mexico's best.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Mirror here. And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay. We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field. 505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space. And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
I'm David C. Chavez, personal injury attorney. For over 4 decades, our law firm has remained steadfast in our commitment to serving the remarkable people of New Mexico that have been injured through no fault of their own. I'm a New Mexican fighting for New Mexicans. I received my bachelor's degree at NMSU and earned my law degree at UNM. I can proudly say I'm both an Aggie and a Lobo. Call now and I will meet with you. 40 years strong, and we're still as local as red and green.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you. I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready!
My coach, my teacher, my older sisters, my grandma, my brother, my tutor, my dad, and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
2014, when they finally allowed us to use older players, and I got to use them, and I'm using them, and I'm like, something tells me this guy was like Steph before Steph. And then I started looking up the stats, and I see he's got full court game winners, and was hitting a bunch of shots before there was a 3-point line. So I guess in Jerry West's day, there was no 3-point line. So we don't even really know what his 3-point stats would have been.
Oh, Wilt the Stilt Chamberlain. How about him?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sheesh. You know, you got film from like everything under the sun from back there.
Back when it had just turned into talkies, huh?
Yeah. But you can't find a film of Wilt scoring 100. I'm like, there's clips of all types of stuff from the 60s and the 50s, and it's just like it's really bad film, bad quality, but you can still see it. You know, there's videos of some of Jerry West shots. Like, I can watch Jerry West highlights. It's like, I wonder why there's no highlight reel of Wilt scoring 100 points. I'm no conspiracist, but, you know, you've got your newer generation always trying to find ways to diminish the OGs.
It's the aliens. The aliens have hidden all his videos, all of his film.
Yeah, or is in a warehouse and they use a bunch of magnets, like Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
That's how they got rid of all the film. But yeah, NBA's back. Pretty much any team you can think of, they're in action tonight. I don't see the Thunder playing tonight, but you got a lot of NBA teams playing. We were talking MLB, the cap situation, and Fred made a good point. Okay, and I think this is the point that was brought up to me by Fred and Van, different Fred, on the afternoon show. And it's like, yeah, well, just because they're allowed to spend the most money doesn't mean they're guaranteed to win. Okay, so that doesn't mean that you're just guaranteed to win a championship because you spent the most money. But here's what I think. Although you may not be guaranteed a championship, I think you're at least guaranteed to be competitive. Like, you're guaranteed to not be bottom of the barrel. I think you've got some owners that maybe would desperately love to be able to spend the amount of money that even maybe a middle of the pack team is spending, but they can't, right? So I think that's where that salary floor would come into play, where if you have each team, you know, maybe based off how much they're making, a certain percentage they have to spend, or what the formula could be. But I don't think you should be focusing on limiting the top. I think you should be focusing on making sure the bottom is not so far at the bottom, right? While also holding owners responsible. Like, if you're a team where you could have spent $200 million, but you've only spent $100 million, and you make a certain amount, and you know you're not spending the same percent as maybe, say, even the Dodgers are spending. Like, look, no, you don't get to have your fans come in and help generate the amount of money your franchise or organization is making, and you're not putting enough of that onto the field to try to give them a winning team. All right? That's what a lot of fans' issue is with the Cowboys. No, we're not owners. No, we don't have say in what gets done. And no, we haven't done the correct things to be in position to have say in what a team does. But if, as a fan base, you're contributing to the growth of a franchise financially through your support, through going to the ballpark, buying merchandise, buying the $30 hot dogs and $40 beers, like, if you're participating in those things and you're helping generate money, I don't think as an owner you should be able to sit back, receive all that money, and not put out a decent amount of that money into making the product better. Like, I think that's how anything works. If you start up a league, that's how things should work. If you start up your own YouTube channel and you start making money off your YouTube videos, you should put some of that money into your channel, get better equipment, get more things on the walls to make the channel better. That's how you give back to those who are giving you money. And I think that as an owner in the MLB, you should be held to that standard. You know, if someone wants to go and spend 50% of the income on players, they should be able to do that. But they shouldn't be able to spend 5% of the income if the average is, say, like 20. So that's kind of how I feel about that situation. To kind of wrap up a bow on my attempt to go deep into the deep waters and talk some MLB. It's enough MLB for the day. And when we get back after the break, we are staying on the topic of salary caps and salary cap floors, but we're going to switch over to the NFL because the NFL has made a big change in their salary cap numbers. So we're going to hop into that when we get back after the break. You're listening to The Opening Drive right here on 95.9 FM and AM 610, The Sports Animal.
You're listening to the Jim.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
These days, it's important to know people and businesses you can trust. There's a lot of places where you can buy a vehicle, but there's only a few local dealerships where you'll find honest people who have your best interests in mind. And Fiesta Kia is one of them. We've been helping our neighbors save money and drive dependable cars for years, and we'd love to help you. With new Kias arriving daily, you'll love our selection and the peace of mind you'll get driving a Kia from Fiesta. So stop by and see us today at Fiesta Kia on Lomas, or just start driving now at fiestakia.com.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
The Yeller Sub, located on 7200 Montgomery Boulevard, serves breakfast all day long along with classic hot and cold subs. Don't forget about our shakes, malts and floats made with your favorite Bluebell ice cream. 45 years and still going strong. Come on down to the Yeller Sub, official sandwich of ProView Networks.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride barbecue chicken and ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
From the Sandia foothills to the banks of the Rio Grande, generations of families remain. For 5 generations, Gallus Chevrolet has handed down values written in stone, leading the way under sun-filled skies, past the vintage glow of Route 66. Built by generations past, built for generations to come. This is New Mexico. This is Gallus.
Welcome back to the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, The Sports Animal. I'm Zay Johnson. Jerry Wright in the studio, helping produce for me. Adrian back at the ProView studio, getting everything going on the TV side of things. Thank you so much. And we are, we were talking about salary floors in the NBA, and the MLB, NBA, so many things at this point. The MLB, we're crossing over to the NFL as their salary cap is rising. But before we hop into that, we're going to hop in to the phone lines. I believe we have a caller. I don't want to get too off track here. So, Terry, thank you for calling. How are you feeling?
Doing well today, Isaiah. How are you and Jerry doing today?
We're doing great. Jerry's
living the dream.
Yeah, Jerry's got the tunes and the vibes at an all-time high here in the studio.
You guys doing a great job. So just covering all the sports, it's why the NFL is king, because you always have hope, even if you're a Cowboy fan. Oh, little dig at you there, Isaiah. Because with the salary cap, baseball, the Dodgers-Yankees, they can pull a Deshaun Watson and still go out and buy somebody else.
Yes.
Versus, Cleveland's got to live with, for a couple of years of, hey, we made a bad choice. We got to live with it that way. So, you have it from that. Going on to the NBA, here's an old thing, and I'm an old man, get off my lawn. Wilt Chamberlain, back in his day, he was a Jayhawk. He averaged over 48 minutes a game one season. And you go, how do you do that? Well, he never came off the court, and the games even went to overtime. So that's how he averaged over 48 minutes a game. So now, players want to play 36 minutes a game or whatever, but now you got to have load management. Oh, darn, I'm tired, I'm young, I can't play every day. And how it affects fans, we go back 55 years because I'm just an old guy. Mm-hmm. My dad took me to see the Globetrotters.
Okay.
And they came to town. Well, they sent the B team. And I wanted to see Curly Neal, Meadowlark Lemon. It was still a good show. But, I thanked my dad, but I was like, I wanted to see the stars. And I just tie that to guys where parents finally get a ticket. They want to see Luka, they want to see LeBron, they want to see any of the big stars, and sorry, they're not playing tonight. They're going to sit on the side and have a glass of wine. And maybe I'm wrong, but I think it does have a little effect that way. And maybe you feel different. But that's like I just said 20-some years ago. Well, JJ said entertainment for the All-Star game. The games were entertaining 25 years ago. They were close. They played hard. They didn't. Yeah. There's a level between hockey fights and foo-foo golf.
Exactly.
You can still play a consistent game, and you don't have to have hard fouls, but you can guard people, and you can kind of go up and down the court. But that's me just chiming in, so the old man throwing in his 2 cents worth. You always do a great job when you fill in, Isaiah. So you and Jerry have a great day. Be safe. Take care.
Thanks, Terry. You always come with the best phone calls. A lot of good points you hit there. And especially at the end with the All-Star game, it did used to be watchable. I mean, the numbers prove it. The numbers, if we can't, and I said this to JJ yesterday, I don't think that we can judge it based off of, it's never been competitive, because there were times when it was competitive. Like I said, Dwayne Wade broke Kobe's nose in the All-Star game. And he went up to him afterwards and was like, I'm sorry. And I guess Kobe laughed it off and was like, oh, it's fine. I'll see you in a few days. And the Lakers played the Heat in a few days, and Kobe came out and went off in that game. That's how things like this are supposed to be handled. That's what true competition is and was. Those were the true differences in the between a Kobe and say the next generation. Go a little bit further down the line, and this is 2013. I brought this up. You had Kobe versus LeBron. This is when they both were still at their peaks. LeBron had probably taken him over as the best at this point. But Kobe, he was really reluctant to give up that title. So the All-Star game rolls around, and it's the fourth quarter, the end of the game. Kobe's clapping he's clapping his hands at LeBron. He gets in a defensive stance. He's wanting LeBron to take him, try to score on him. And LeBron tries to hit Carmelo Anthony in the corner, and Carmelo, Dwayne Wade, Kobe, the crowd, everyone goes up to LeBron like, yo, what are you doing? You know what everyone's here to see. You know what the big moment is. It's you and Kobe, ISO, why'd you pass? And then followed up by that is Kobe locking LeBron down on multiple possessions and winning the game for the West. That's what true competitiveness looks like. And if it takes the two top players to keep it to that level, then the two top players need to take it upon themselves to do that. And I don't think LeBron does that. On the line, we've got Howard. Welcome to the show, Howard. Thank you for calling in. How are we feeling?
You know what, Isaiah? Why does don't get me wrong, I like Terry. But why does everybody always have to take a poke at us Cowboy fans? Even the Cowboys have hope. Wow, man. You know, I just finally start getting over the season, and Terry takes a little poke and peels the scab right off, you know?
You know, we're used to it. We're used to it.
Yeah, now I got another question. I mean, Wilt the Stilt, he was a beast, averaged over 48 minutes a game, and had an alleged 10,000 women conquests in his life.
Yeah, that's the real impressive one, isn't it?
Yeah, the heck with averaging 48 minutes a game. I mean, you know, how many women is that a week, you know? So that's what I want to know.
Yeah, the stamina was there all around for Wilt, it seems.
And then there's a difference between LeBron and Kobe, Isaiah, and I think this is the difference. LeBron is a technician when it comes to his body and taking care of himself and everything, and I'm sure Kobe was too. LeBron's a performer. Kobe was one of the fiercest competitors that the game knew.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the difference, because LeBron always does put on a show, and he has his accolades, and I do like LeBron. I'm a LeBron fan, but Kobe was a more fierce competitor than LeBron, and I think that's the difference there. You know, like you said, Kobe locked him down. That was a special human being, and sometimes, you know, he may get forgotten when they're always talking about MJ and LeBron, but Kobe's right there with him, in my opinion.
Yes.
I think he was and you know what? When Kobe was young, I didn't like him.
You know, my dad says the same thing.
I didn't like him, but I learned to respect him and respect his game.
You know, sometimes being respected is better than being liked.
There you go. Thanks for taking my call, Isaiah. You're doing a great job.
Thank you, Howard, and thank you for the awesome call. So Howard not only is pro Kobe, but he's pro Cowboy. So that's all the way my guy. You know, I'm super big on Kobe. And, you know, we might as well, I'll take that bait. Why not? We'll hop into the difference between Kobe and LeBron when we get back after the break. And we also, again, I am going to go ahead and dish out this information to you guys about the NFL's salary cap as well after the break. When we get back, you're listening to The Opening Drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, The Sports Animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com. Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
I'm David C. Chavez, personal injury attorney. Our law firm was founded by my father, Thibaut J. Chavez, with one goal, to get New Mexicans the help they need. That's why we built a different kind of law firm. We focus on family values, dedicated service, and we make a real contribution by giving back to our communities. We can't change what happened to you or your loved ones, but we can help you get back on the road to recovery. We're by your side, and we're still as local as red and green.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
I'm a Blaze King customer, and I have been for the last 10 years. Blaze King stoves are very efficient, they're easy to maintain, and they use a lot less wood than you would typically use with a fireplace.
Blaze King, that's a fire.
The heat is on when it's a Blaze King wood stove, controlling heat up to 40 hours on a single load of wood with a built-in thermostat. See for yourself at either Blaze King showroom, Albuquerque and Santa Fe. Blaze King, and now that's a fire.
From the Sandia foothills to the banks of the Rio Grande, generations of families remain. For 5 generations, Gallus Chevrolet has handed down values written in stone, leading the way under sun-filled skies, past the vintage glow of Route 66. Built by generations past, built for generations to come. This is New Mexico. This is Gallus.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit hanswhitlerauto.com. TurboThreads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sports shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. TurboThreads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for TurboThreads.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All in Autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some of the greats, and share your own legacy. Visit All In Autographs, where you can celebrate the great and have your own piece of history.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
I'm David C. Chavez, personal injury attorney. For over 4 decades, our law firm has remained steadfast in our commitment to serving the remarkable people of New Mexico that have been injured.
Sports Animal.
Welcome back to the opening drive. Zay Johnson wrapping up the last segment with you. I'm going to try to speed run this thing real fast. Real quickly, we've got the NFL informed teams that the 2025 per team salary cap will fall in the range of $277.5 million to $281.5 million. Way up from last year's $255.4 million. The cap will have increased by $53 million over the last 2 years. So you want to talk about inflation, Jerry? That's inflation for you,
man. That's almost as big as the eggs.
Yeah, tell me about it. So, geez, you got the salary cap going through the roof. So hopefully my Cowboys will stop using the salary cap as an excuse to not go and get anybody, you know? And if you're wanting to take advantage on this, you need to do it now. You need to do it now because the prices on the players are going to rise with the salary cap. So you need to take advantage of the higher salary cap right now while the price of the players is the same. And that sounds weird saying the price of the players, but you know what I mean. That's what it is. So these free agents that might want a certain amount, now with this salary cap raising this high so fast, you need to hurry up and sign a guy so that you can actually reap the benefits. Because once this starts to resettle in and the market reshifts, you know, the players are going to be even more expensive and the ratio is going to stay about the same. Like as far as percentage wise of how much a player is going to want of the total salary cap is going to rebalance out if teams don't hurry up and get on top of that. Right before the break, Howard brought up a great point that Kobe and LeBron are different. And here's my thing. When comparing LeBron to Kobe or Jordan, the number one thing that gets me is that there was just never a point in my mind in Kobe or Jordan's career where they were struggling because of they mentally were too weak or mentally were too scared or mentally couldn't get over a hump or a mountain. Jordan needed to get stronger after getting smoked by the Pistons so many times. He hit the gym, got bigger and stronger. The Bulls got better. He was able to finally beat them. Kobe came into his rookie year airballing shots late in the games, and he realized it was because his legs weren't strong enough, and he needed more conditioning in his legs so that he could maintain consistency and efficiency throughout an entire game and even more minutes if needed. So they went through physical things they had to overcome, but mentally they always were that guy. In LeBron's case, I don't believe he got to that stage until Game 6 versus Celtics in 2013 in the playoffs. Back against the wall, you know, you came up short every single year leading up to this year. You got your big three, then you got beat by the Mavericks, and now here you are facing elimination 2 years in a row on this super team that was the Miami Heat, and you go out and have the best game of your career. You go out and have the best game of your career when everyone is expecting you to choke. And from that point on, I think he just always had raised the bar so high. Well, really, I think he hit such a peak that he could never have felt that much pressure again. Okay, because he finishes that series and then he goes on to beat the Spurs. And I think that was the same year as the Ray Allen shot. So he goes on to beat the Spurs following that game. And from that point on, if you're LeBron, you've done it now. You had your clutch moment. You won your championship. So I think a lot of weight was off his shoulders. And then the LeBron we saw from that point on, if you just take that part of his career and compare that part of his career to the other greats, I think you have a legitimate argument. Like, I believe Miami Heat LeBron was the greatest individual player ever. I think 2014 LeBron James was the greatest player ever. His shooting percentages were the highest, the total numbers, everything about his whole entire season, I believe, was peak of his career. But I can't sit here and tell you that I would take young LeBron over young Kobe. I wouldn't take young LeBron over medium or old Kobe, or Jordan for that matter, because you can't trust him to win the game. He'll have all your stats through the first 3 quarters and maybe even the beginning of the 4th quarter. But you can't trust him to win the game. You just can't. And, you know, I hear all the time, oh, LeBron took a bunch of trash cans to the finals. Look, he had shooters. LeBron always had shooters around him. Names or no names, LeBron has always had shooters around him. And that's how I feel here at Cumulus with a great team that I had around me today. Cherry Wright in the production studio, Adrian back at ProView making things go on the TV side of things. Thank you guys for sticking with me and always showing me the support when I fill in for the boys. I will be back producing tomorrow in the production studio, so you will have me once again tomorrow. You guys stay safe, and thank you for tuning in. Zay Johnson is out.
Boom, baby!
Through no fault of their own. I'm a New Mexican fighting for New Mexicans.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All in Autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some of the greats, and share your own legacy. Visit All In Autographs, where you can celebrate the great and have your own piece of history.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard offers both commercial and residential roofing and solar services. For more info, please call 505-821-9543. Evergard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
Got shots? Got shots? Got shots?
During Got Shots, participating providers open their doors for any child who presents for immunizations, regardless of whether they are a patient or whether they have insurance.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfasfa.org. That's nmfasfa.